Hi, everyone, and welcome to Book Club with Bay. I am Bay, and this is Bay. Say hi, Bay.
Hi, Bay.
And today we're talking about Carpe, Corpus. Is that how you say that?
Yes.
Okay, by Rachel Kane. It's the 6th book in the Morganville Vampire series.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
we are trucking along as far as the series goes.
Yes. What book is it again? 6?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're almost to the halfway
We got
mark.
10 more to go.
Okay, just kidding.
Yep.
JK.
For those of you playing at home, Carpe Corpus means seize the body.
Ah,
It's Latin.
yeah.
I'm not too sure whose body though.
Whose
body are we seizing?
There wasn't really body seizing in this, but okay.
Like, is it like Free Claire? Hashtag Free Claire? Is it get the bishop? Or could be get the bishop, because I had to get the bishop.
They did have to get the bishop. That is true. Did we rate
Either
Order
way.
of Misrule last time?
I don't know.
Because I don't feel like we did, because it's not in here.
We might have, and you just may have failed in your duty.
Possibly. That's possible.
I guess we should rate it now.
Yeah. Okay. So there we go. So we have Feast of Fools at 9.25, Midnight Alley at 9, Dead Girl Dance at 8.5, and Glass Houses at 8.
Last one was the Warzone, the first of the Morganville Warzone books, wasn't it?
Yeah. Honestly, those books feel like a fucking fever dream.
Yeah. Oh, just wait until we get to oh, which book is it? Now I need to find which book it is, because there's one that really is a freaking fever dream, and I'm pretty sure also this is the first one with the new narrator as well, or it could be the second one. I'm pretty sure it's the first, and it's weird because you're adjusting to a new narrator, but then also the story's
It's
just
a fever dream. Yeah. Also this one it wasn't as fever dreamy, but it was a little fever dreamy.
Yeah. Is it Black Dawn? It could be Black Dawn, which is book 12.
This is very subtle reference to Red Dawn there.
Yeah, I'm 99% sure that Black Dawn is the one that is just like, you feel kind of like half stoned, like laced with something slightly hallucinogenic, and it's a weird ride, that book.
Yeah.
So we're halfway to that one.
Fun.
Yeah, where would we put thingy though? Lord of Misrule.
I don't know, honestly. It's hard. Well,
because it's so different to the other ones as well, so it's hard to compare it to them.
Yeah. And this one's pretty different too. Like, it's not as different, but it's pretty different.
It's probably like the halfway point between the Morganville Standard and the Morganville Call of Duty books.
Our Morganville Call of Duty books, I'll tell you what. Like, that's a good description for it. Like, yeah.
I don't know.
You know what? Okay, food rating though. I'm gonna call it like cotton candy explosion ice cream, because like it's ice cream and you're happy about it, but there's also like weird things happening within the ice cream as well. Just have like Pop Rocks in them. That kind of cotton candy ice cream. That's what this is like.
Sure, we'll do that. Well, you know what? I think we do have to rate this one decently because, you know, stuff happened in this book.
Yes, it did. Well, also
We
this
got
is
some brand-
this is a Murnin
Mhm.
heavy book. This is a Murnin heavy book as well.
Yeah, but we got some bow chicka wow wow.
We did indeed.
Yes, Claire lost the big V and managed to tell everyone in town within 12 hours. Oh, fuck, I don't know. Okay. Well, where would we put this book compared to the other books?
I don't know. Oh God.
Okay, wait. Go. We'll start from the top of the list.
Okay.
And
so the highest one we have is Feast of Fools.
don't think it's about Feast of Fools, no.
Okay, so I'll put
Do you?
9.15125. Yeah, I agree with you there. What about Lord of Misrule? Like, where would we? Because it's. Hold on one second. Let me sort.
Actually, yeah, because this book did have a lot of.
Because right now it's like
it is the end of the Bishop arc, kind of, but it is the end of the main Bishop arc.
Yeah.
So
we have completed season 1.
Well, I would put this one as the first book of season 2 because I like the idea of ending season 1 on a cliffhanger. But
Yeah.
if it was a TV show, but in books, yes, it is the end of season 1. Yeah.
So Lord of Misrule. So we have Feast of Fools, Carpe, Corpus, Midnight Alley, Dead Girls Dance, Glass Houses, Lord of Misrule.
I think because some good stuff does happen in Lord of Misrule, like they lose, which
but it's not as much fun.
I would think I'll put it below Glass Houses.
Okay, so I'm gonna bump some things up just because.
Yeah.
I will say that's like our number ratings don't matter. Our number ratings are just so like this document will sort things in order. Like that's the only reason why.
Yes.
There's why I have a number rating in here. It's not because of how I actually feel about the books. If I were to like put this on Goodreads or something, I would just be like 5 stars all around. I love these books. Because like, you know, an 8 would translate to like 4 stars, but like that's not really how I feel. Yeah. So, you know,
Morganville is
like
Morganville is a series.
I'm kind of weird because like I'm bad at rating books because when it comes to books, I'm either like 1 star or 5 stars. For me, there's like no in between. I love it or I don't love it. Usually.
And then there's the books we love to hate.
Yeah, well, because at least for me, like, I rate books based on like if I'm actually gonna do like a starred thing, based on how much I enjoy it and how much fun it is to read. Because there's a lot of like nitty gritty. Like I feel like, you know, YouTube is, and even like what we do gets into like a lot of really nitpicky stuff that doesn't matter when you're just reading the books.
Yeah, well, like literally all of our criticisms of, well, okay, fine, probably about 95% of our criticisms of Morganville don't take away from the actual experience of reading the books. Like the continuity issues. There's all of the continuity issues in Morganville.
But I don't care.
There is one time that I care.
It's the bathroom thing, right?
No, it's
Okay.
I can actually tell you now.
Okay.
It's not spoilery. I can't remember what it is, but like Claire is arguing with Amelie. I think it's towards the end of the series, and she brings up, spoiler alert, because this happened in this book, and disclaimer time from Babe.
Oh, right. This is Book Club with Bae, not spoiler-free book review with Bae, so spoilers ahead.
Thank you. Sam. Sam dies this book, and it's very sad. It is very sad. Well, that sounds sarcastic, but I was sad.
This is the Sam we care about.
Yes. If he had a dead baby, we would care. You said it.
I did.
You said it.
I did say it, and I meant it. I still mean it because I'm rereading the Mercy, because I've never done this. Right now, I'm currently rereading the Mercy Thompson books and the Alpha Omega series like in order.
Oh, it's so much better when you do it that way.
It is,
because when they reference each other, like with the Senator's son bit.
Mm-hmm. That's way less confusing.
Yeah, because I read Mercy before I read any of Alpha Omega and stuff. The only time I got really confused was when like Charles and Anna were at Mercy's wedding, and I was like, when did Charles get an Anna?
Yeah,
because he was single in the first book. Other than that, like you can read them alone, but it's
but all the cute, yeah, because like there's enough information for you within each book that like, you know, the first time you meet like Estiel in Frostburned, you know, you don't need to have seen him before to be like, ooh, Estiel, you know.
Yeah, I feel like though for Burn Bright, you do need to have read Silence Fallen to not be confused about Bran being MIA after helping Mercy.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't know though, because I'd already read. Because we were already up to both.
Yeah. Yeah. But
yeah, what were you saying there?
It does change up the experience though, just because it's like, oh, okay. Because also like it's, even if you're reading them like when you're reading them separately, it is actually kind of hard to keep it straight, like what happens when.
Yeah.
Whereas if you read them the way like in the timeline order, it's like, oh, this is fun. Because like 3 Alpha Omega books happen before Bloodbound happens.
Yeah.
Which I didn't actually know. Like I knew, but I didn't know.
Yeah, there's the novella and then the first 2 actual books.
Yeah, all happen. Yeah, take place like before Bloodbound happens. So
I mean, to be fair, also like Omega is literally like Alpha and Omega is, and fuck, what's the first one? Cry Wolf.
Yeah.
That like one ends and this next one begins. Like they're connected.
Cry Wolf is still an annoying book to get through, though. I will say that.
Yeah, I know you don't like being in the mountains the whole book, but
those are honestly like the worst Mercyverse books are the ones where we're just in nature the entire time. So like Rivermark, Cry Wolf, and Burn Bright. We're just in the woods the entire time. It's not.
At least with Burn Bright, there's some intrigue. There's some intrigue with Burn Bright at the very least. We actually got
to see like a Skinwalker, and because like we've been hearing about Skinwalkers this entire time, because Mercy keeps, because every book Mercy has to be like, I'm a walker, but not like a Skinwalker. Blah, 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 blah.
We got to meet a Skinwalker,
which is, it's like, okay, it's a lot less annoying if you haven't read the books like in between, like for a while. But like when you're reading the books back to back, it's just like, give it a rest.
No, fair. But a lot of the
pack.
This is Warren. He is gay. Don't be homophobic. This is Kyle. He is also gay, but like not like stoic gay like Warren, but like gay.
But
we get that.
And this is Daryl, Adam's second, who is half Chinese
and half
black.
But he's a beautiful man.
He's a beautiful man with the best features from both. And I'm not making fun of the character descriptions. I'm just saying, like, you get this every single book, and it's a whole thing. And honestly, like I said, it's not that bad if you haven't read the books. Like, if you take time between each book, and it's helpful. But at the same time, it's just like, it's every time.
At least it's not as bad as. Actually, no, sorry, I lie. Patricia Bruce doesn't like, you know, say, be like, this is Warren, he's gay, don't be homophobic. He's just like, this is Warren, he's gay. And then every so often a homophobic character will pop in and it's just like, no, bad. Whereas House of Night is like, this is Damien, he's gay, it's his personality. And if you have a problem with that, then you're just homophobic.
Yeah,
Shame on you.
yeah.
Have you self-flagellated it? Pause reading. Go
Have
with
you
yourself.
self-flagellated enough? Yeah, right. Well, because Warren, like, you wouldn't forget that he's gay, but like, Warren is Warren and Kyle is Kyle, whereas Jack is just Damien, but more awful.
Jack is toddler Damien.
Yes, and Damien likes big words such as humongous.
Yes, and Jack has an affinity for technology because he can press play on a stereo.
You know what's actually funny is like I know we're talking about Mercy and House of Night, but we're just going with it. Is that there's actually a time where Kyle has like a big word calendar and he uses a big word. And to this day, I still don't know what the fuck it means. And that's how you do big obscure word references, okay? Like if you're gonna be like this character's into big words, it needs to be like they say the word and only someone else who is into that would have any idea what the fuck just happened.
Yes, but like with Kyle is also how you do a flamboyant gay without his personality being, hi, I'm gay.
Yes.
Because he has a personality.
Yeah.
Whereas Damien is just...
Well, at some point, the cast describe him walking gaily.
Yes, and every time Damien goes to do something, it's because I'm gay. He's like, I like to cook. I'm gay. He's, and then it toddles off.
Lots of people like to cook.
He prances gaily.
Yeah, he prances. He's, like literally he pranced away gaily, I'm pretty sure is an exact line from one of the House of Night books. Do I have to explain why that's offensive? Like, do I?
The gay kid pranced away gaily with his boyfriend who is also a toddler.
Well, because the thing is, like, you can totally write, like we said, you can totally write a flamboyant gay character.
Like Kyle.
But, like, there's nothing...
I mean, I worked with a guy, right, once who was, like, not gonna lie, he's probably, like, the most flamboyantly gay person alive. Like, he came to work one day with fairy wings. He was by the way, he was a team leader. He was management.
Okay.
He was management. And it wasn't a dress-up day. It wasn't Halloween. It was just, he brought them. And part of that day, he put his fairy wings on and had his little wand and was just saying, I'm the office fairy, because he's gay. Like that was the joke, that he was a fairy and he was dressed as a fairy. And he was just walking around granting us wishes.
I enjoy that. That's fun.
But it wasn't weird because that was him.
Well, that's the thing.
But he also had a personality.
Well, that's the thing is, like, yeah, like with Kyle, like, that he's really smart. There are, like, more complicated things going on in the background. Like, his like of clothes has to do with him being a lawyer and him keeping up an image rather than just like, oh, he's gay. Like, there's more to it. And also just he really likes fancy clothes.
Yeah. But then there's also, like, his purple matched, like, sweatsuit with, like, my boyfriend. Your boyfriend wants me more than you, or whatever the hell was on that T-shirt. He's got his, like, well, you are really flamboyant versus I'm a lawyer, a really high-paid divorce attorney who is awesome at my job.
Right. Yeah. Like, there's, like, the more fun part, and then there's, like, the it's like a whole thing. But anyway, so Morganville.
Morganville. We still haven't... No, we did do that. Okay, so, characters. We have our core four. Currently, we have, Claire, who we have established has We didn't get any hair watch updates this book. I think last we left.
Short hair. She has soft, short hair. Because when Shane is run through the bars. Sorry, that's not what he does. He kisses her, but that was my mommy of kissing because I don't have like another person. So just Anyway, so head smash.
Currently brown.
It was brown and short and also soft.
Okay, but we don't know how short though.
No,
do we? I think it's
my hair is like short, but
I think it's probably a bit shorter than yours at this stage. I don't know.
I still imagine her with hair about my length.
And like just a plain brown. Just a plain boring brown. Okay, so yes. Claire, when last we saw her, she had been book wrapped on her arm and Bishop slaved.
Yes.
Michael has been and Bishop slaved. Eve is sad and alone, and Shane is in jail with his dad.
Yes. So our core
four. So those are our core four.
They're separated.
Yes.
And I think I've said this before, but core four is probably my favorite dynamic. Hence, maybe both my books feature a core four, but
four's a good number. It's it's better than two because two is a bit too much two-ness.
And three is
diverse enough. Three always has someone left out. Four is good. Five, and once you get to five and up, it starts to get too many.
Yeah, you need a good solid core four.
Because not to go back to House of Night, but we're going back to House of Night. Our core group in House of Night was Zoe, Stevie Ray, Shawnee, Aaron, Damien. And that was our original thing. And then we added Aphrodite. And then we added Stark. And then we added Cramisha. And then we added also Heath kind of sometimes and Eric kind of sometimes. So we'll just do one for them. And then we lost an Aaron, but we gained a thing. What's her face?
Shailene, yes.
Yep. And I think we had someone else at one stage, and that's 10 main characters, and we never got to spend any time with any of them except Zoe, really. We didn't really know any of them. Or Refame, we got a Refame.
Yeah, so here's some writing advice from Book Club with Bay.
We got a Colonna.
Yeah. Writing advice from Book Club with Bay. If you're thinking about adding a new character, first stop and think, could any of my current characters cover that slot? Could they do the thing?
If yes,
don't add a new character. And so, for example, Blackwoods, by the time we're done, is going to have 20 main characters.
Whoops.
Or 20 named characters that matter. House Steffer. We mentioned most of them in the first novella, or the first book, which is a novella, but secondly, just because of the way the Blackwoods is a third-person omniscient book. Yeah. So we have time and space to do that. If you're starting a book from first person, keep in mind that you probably don't have the wiggle room to do that. So if you want a whole bunch of main characters, you're going to have to split it up into little chunks. You're going to have to make the books much longer to give readers time to deal with this and process everything you've done. And you have to write very differently. And at the same time, you still need in each area to have a core group of characters, a core character to latch onto.
Yeah. In Mercy, for example, two main characters would be Mercy and Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Adam's a major character in every book. But beyond that, she's got a very big cast. But within each book, there's only a handful of primary characters in those books.
Yeah.
Some books it's Ben, some books it's Warren, some books it's
Z.
Honey, some books it's Z, some books it's Stefan, Who knows? And most of them do get a mention in every book, but she picks a small cast to be that book's primary cast. And because of the type of book and series that it is, it works. In Morganville, we need our core four. I don't think... because Morganville does have a big cast, not as big as Mercy, but it still does have a big cast. But we're centered around the same 4 characters as every book because it's YA. You don't want to. You can't. In more adult books, you can change your primary characters more each book.
Right. Well, that's kind
But
of.
you don't want to have. But you don't want to have 12 primary characters in a single book unless it's longer. And again,
something I guess we've done with like we're trying to do with Blackwoods anyway is like when you have your groups of things, make sure that they're like kind of branching off from our core 4. So like Jorgen's a major character now, but he's Dex's younger brother. So like you have more of like a tether to like the situation, like, and then also, make sure that you just have like solid footing and like a nice web that's easier to follow. And, you have to be careful about it because you can have a lot of characters. You can have people care about a lot of characters, but you have to make sure that like the character that you're actually following or that you're telling the audience directly to care about, it's not too much stuff and you're at least compartmentalizing this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's really the major thing.
Yeah, no, like we probably wouldn't have had such a hard time with House of Night if we'd spent more time on useful fluff and less time on watching the same scene 30 times.
Well, with House of Night, the other issue is that they kept getting rid of characters and then adding new characters to do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Because like, is there any reason why Shawnee couldn't have gotten like Cremisia's poem power? Or anybody else couldn't have gotten that?
I was just thinking, I'm like, are you just saying that because they're both black?
Yeah, I guess. Like, I don't know. I mean, that's how the cast think of it, so why not? But is there any reason why anybody else couldn't have done that? No.
Yeah, I mean, like at least they gave like Shailene water and sorry, what?
Well, I'm just going to say if you're going to bring in a new water person, just like, and then Shailene also has this other power, just give that to Aaron. Just expand Aaron.
Yeah. But I mean, I can kind of say with Shailene why they did her as a new character because she was like an extra special because she was marked as red and it was a thing. And she was blind and now she can see. But she can really see. Like I at least kind of get it. I probably wouldn't have minded so much introducing her if we hadn't had so many other useless people introduced.
Right. And the thing is, like, a lot of the characters in House of Night can be consolidated back into our original cast.
Yeah, probably about 95% of them.
Yeah, you could just put them back into the original cast. And so I think that's like the thing is when you're thinking of adding a new character, just keep in mind, like, can we can we expand on a character you already have and give them that job? Or do you actually, or is there some good, because there might be a good reason and that's fine, but just keep it in mind.
And because another thing as well is, this is also the important thing about not letting your characters decide that, Mummy, I want to fuck a bird. No, like what you do, right, is you plan. Like, I mean, like you outline your original, because most people when they're writing a series have a general idea of where is the series going, how will it end, what will be a thing,
Yeah.
And that's fine. Especially if it's a close-ended series, like House of Night was a close-ended series. The whole thing was to get to defeating Neferret.
I'm interested to see how Mercy is going to end.
Yeah, like with Mercy, she's got a lot more leeway as well because it's an episodic series. It's not a close-ended series. So, like, Mercy could go on for another 30 books if she so chose and had the stories there.
I just don't know how you end a series like that. Like, what do you do?
She's going to be pregnant. She's going to be pregnant with twins because Walkie's back.
Yes, the walking stick is back.
So she's going to be pregnant.
I'm on Iron Fist right now, and I just saw the walking stick for the first time, and I was like, "Oh, my favorite character."
It was so sad when he died. But like,
I was so upset when the walking stick died. Like that. Yeah. Patty got me invested in a fucking stick. Like I can't even.
That's how good she is. Like Morgan, bringing it back to Morganville. Morganville is like halfway between. Like it does end up having like an end thing that feels like a right conclusion to the series. It's somewhat corny, sure, but so it does end relatively, I guess, close-ended. But she could have but we've got multiple seasons within it, so she could have added 2 more seasons before she got to that end, and it would have worked too.
Yeah, I think that's just the thing. I was like, I think it's like with any like TV show or something. Like if the longer it goes on, probably the worse off you are.
Yeah, but like the way, like, but with House of Night, especially though, like there was no way they could have added more to it because from the first book it was defeat Neferet. That was the goal of the series, and especially if you're going to have a single goal series, you need to plan ahead and work out what shit's going to happen when. Otherwise, you're going to be scrambling and having to introduce more and more characters because Erin decided this book she doesn't want to be a twin anymore and she wants to be evil. That's why Erin decided she wanted to go fuck Dallas. Okay?
No, and here's the thing. I think like when it's totally fine to change your mind because sometimes you're writing and you're like, okay, maybe this character wouldn't do this or maybe it doesn't actually serve them that well to do it like this, and that's totally cool.
But if you've got a general idea, though, you can tweak it.
Yeah.
The cast didn't tweak. They just let their characters decide what they wanted to do that book. And yeah, one day Erin was like, damn, Dallas is looking fine. And they're like, fuck, now we need a new border person.
I did actually start writing Elder. And it's actually happening now. So thank God.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, yeah, you know probably better than anyone just how much original ideas can change. Because
what's funny though is every time like that happens to me and I keep exploring like, ooh, this might be a better idea, I always wind up back at the original idea. I got 50,000 words into a draft of Elder that I'm never gonna use. Send help. And now the one I'm writing is basically about as close to the original idea, the original thing I was gonna do.
Yeah, I actually still need to read that because she sent it to me on Christmas Eve, like half an hour before my aunt got here, and it's just been a time since. So I'm like I can't read your draft, babe. I'm busy. It's Christmas, and then I'm busy. It's the period.
Yeah, no, I'm busy.
So yeah, I did read that.
Also, yeah, that's why this is different. I moved. I'm in an apartment now. There's a deer head over there.
There is. Like, question. Like, is it a real deer head or a fake deer head?
No, it's fucking real.
Okay, I just wanted to check. Does it have a name?
No.
You need to name it.
Probably. There's a second one that he's bringing, and I don't know where we're going to put it, but also his grandparents have, like, deer heads.
If I named her, you can name the deer heads.
but his grandparents have deer heads, and not just deer heads. I mean, like deer heads as a general term, okay, is like a category of things, but not only deer heads, but other shit. And he's like, so I'm going to bring a bunch of them up here. And I'm like, this is a 1-bedroom apartment. I don't know where the fuck they're going to put all this, but that's fine. We can do whatever. I'm just not fighting it. Cool. Covered in deer heads. What are you going to do? This is none of my business. Addie was over here, and Addie's boyfriend and my boyfriend put the deer head up together. And
so that was a bonding experience.
There, yeah. And so Addie was just like, I can't believe you're okay with this. And I was like, honestly, what I knew going in, like, what am I going to do? I knew before we started dating that this was going to be a thing. So, like, what am I going to do? Say no? It's over. I'm fucked. Like, it's just.
You know what you just need to do though? It just means that when you buy, like when you actually get to like getting a house, you're just gonna have to make sure it's a log, like it's like a mountain style, like cabin-y house, so it doesn't look silly.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny because like most of our furniture is like pretty modern.
And then there's just a deer head above
And
it.
there's just a deer head. But what's really nice is it's under a lamp that has like a smart light in it, so we can change the color of the light so the deer gets mood lighting.
That because I do recall as well. That was like your one thing you wanted for the deer head was mood lighting.
Yeah, I got my mood lighting for the deer head, so I'm happy about that.
So the deer can be angry now.
Yes, yeah, we can make we can change. Yeah, we can do like mood lighting for the deer, which makes me happy.
Okay, when next we stream, I want the deer named.
Okay, done.
Okay, thank you. Nothing like Bambi. Like it needs to be an appropriate name, not a not Bambi.
But yeah, it's a real deer. Someone killed it, and now it is. I don't know. I'll have to find out who killed it. Like, I don't know.
Oh, one sec.
But oh crap, I'm alone. Okay. But
okay.
Oh, is that offensive? Because I know some people are.
I didn't hear what you said.
I was going to say, like, is that offensive? Because I know some people get upset about hunting. But
well, it's already happened.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, here's the thing. I live in Georgia. It's a thing. Like everybody does it. And,
but also though, like it's already happened, and there's every chance as well that the meat from said deer was for consumption.
I know they do. I know they do
Yeah.
it. But, well, the other thing too is that if they don't like during hunting season, hunters don't kill enough of the deer.
Oh well, yeah, deer are also pets.
So I know that like there are departments in the United States that just go out and mass murder deer.
Yes.
And so like hunters are just part of that. They just let them do it during like specific season.
And the killing is as quick and painless as possible.
So
like no one, if any hunter found out that another hunter was doing doing cruel things, then there would be retribution of some sort.
Yeah, that's something a lot of people don't know about like trophy hunting in Africa. Like when people go hunt rhinos or something, even like endangered animals, it's usually because a place is like there's a specific rhino that we need to take out. And so
yeah, well, like I know
if you can get like a rich American to pay like thousands upon thousands of dollars to you in addition, tens of thousands of dollars to you to get rid of it, even like when you were going to do it anyway.
Yeah,
that's usually what they do.
I know. Often it's usually because it's usually when there's a male that's too old to effectively reproduce, but he's still too strong to be beaten by rivals.
Yeah, and so it's
he's not making babies.
Yeah, it's usually when it's an animal that is being detrimental to a population.
Yeah,
especially if it's an endangered.
Specifically to kill that one.
Yeah, and it's also like you can get fined and put in jail if you kill the wrong one.
Yeah,
but then also too, they use the meat and stuff from those kinds of kills as well. So like,
yes,
no, but like poaching poaching and legal trophy hunting are two completely different things.
Yes. Poaching is a big no.
Yeah, but legal trophy hunting is like rather than
and again, like,
for doing something for like and having to pay for it, you get an American to pay for it.
Yeah,
and then you get a ton of funding.
Because also most of that trophy hunting as well happens in sanctuaries, and the sanctuaries need funding, and that goes to.
And that's how they get funding. Right, because they would have to get rid of the animal anyway, and then rich Americans will just be like, "Oh, I'll do it," and they're like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah. But like deer hunting, venison is a meat, and a deer head is like not where you get the meat from. So, I mean, I know it's not all. I know the insides are not in it's skin. I know that. But yeah, heads are the trophy of dinner.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. I wouldn't say this. I don't know. It could be every time. I don't know. I don't deer hunt, okay? But I've heard venison is delicious. I haven't actually ever had it.
I haven't actually had it either.
I need to. Stixie tells me it's lovely.
Yeah. I haven't actually had it.
Well, the supermarkets around here, the only venison they sell is like pre-made venison burgers.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like pre-made beef burgers. And I'm like, well, if the venison ones are anything like the beef ones, then I imagine they're going to be gross.
Yeah.
If I want a venison burger patty, I'll make my own venison burger patty.
Yeah, there are also like several different places you can actually buy like exotic meat from.
Yeah, same here.
Anyway, maybe you should.
I want to try ostrich. Back to Morganville because we're 40 minutes in.
Fuck.
Yep. So Emily has been defeated by Bishop, and she's gone eek and run away. Mernon betrayed everyone and was like, "Ha ha ha! I'm Team Bishop," and that's where we're at. So now we've skipped forward 3 months.
Yeah.
So we're 6 months from the beginning of the book. Oh, from the beginning of the series.
It's Claire's 17th birthday.
Yes, and Mama has made her a delicious vanilla on vanilla cake that Claire thinks is tasteless because it's sad because it's not gross like what Eve's would have been. And like honestly though, this is just like a perfect thing of like Claire's depressed because like she's forced to be Bishop's minion. She's at least got her own mind back now, but not control over her own body for the most part. Like if Bishop is like jump, her response is to. She doesn't even ask how high. She just jumps. But she had such high hopes for her birthday, and it was going to be terribly wonderful or wonderfully awful, again, bad cake, but fun with good people. And she gets,
that well-made cake with her parents, and she's just unhappy about it.
Yes.
Well, you know what? I know I'm back on a tangent, but I was talking to Addie yesterday, and I was like, "Are we actually about to turn 24?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "It doesn't feel like it," because last year our birthdays were during the initial lockdown.
Yeah.
And so, I bet, yeah, I'm in the apartment, and so like it doesn't feel like we turned 23, because for as long as Addie and I have known each other, because our birthdays are 10 days apart. We've always done like a shindig, and there's no shindig. And so it's like, if we don't get to do, like, if it's 2 years, no shindig, when we turn 25, we're going to have to make up 3 birthdays in one, and we're going to die.
Poor Stixie.
Alcohol.
He turned 32 yesterday. I'm like, how do you feel? And he's like, about the same as I did yesterday. But we made him a brownie. Like, he doesn't really like cake, so we made him a brownie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just, it feels weird, though, because, like, 24, it feels weird. It feels weird. It would feel less weird if we had done something last year.
Yeah.
But also, COVID,
well,
nothing happened this year.
Well, I keep forgetting how old I am as well. Like, I actually had to ask my mom the other day how old I was. And that's because last year for my birthday, like, not only was COVID a thing, like, I don't think COVID being a thing would have changed because I just would have wanted to stay home for my birthday anyway. But I was really, really sick on my birthday. So I was just miserable and slept through half of it and spent the other half, like, dying.
Yeah.
So I didn't get a birthday at all. Like, I didn't even have cake, or like 60 and I were going to go out for dinner. Couldn't do that because I was sick as a dog. So I was like, what is birthday?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
like it's weird.
But yeah. Yeah, I know. Daughter yesterday before I got up, she got up and got like out her texts and some paper, and she drew a recipe for 60's special birthday cake. It was really cute, and she drew a picture of the cake. It was a dinosaur cake, and she's like, "The recipe needs we need secret ingredients." I'm like, "And what are the secret ingredients?" And then she told me, and she drew all the ingredients as well, and it was so cute. We needed a jug of milk and a cup of milk.
Okay.
We needed blueberries, some jam,
Okay.
and some grass.
Okay.
And those were the ingredients to his special dinosaur cake. If I find it, I'll tell you it's somewhere. I'll find it and I'll send you a photo. It's actually like you can actually look at it and go, yeah, no, that does, like, you can tell it's a dinosaur. I looked at the blueberry. I'm like, that's a blueberry. Took me a minute to work out. The grass was pretty evident too. But it took me a minute to work out what the jam and the milk was. She had to tell me. But now that I know, I can see it.
That's funny.
Oh, she's funny though. But back to Morganville.
Sorry. Yes, it's Claire's birthday. So we're on page 1.
Yes.
So it's Claire's birthday and she's sad. And so and her parents are like, "Why are you sad?" And she's like,
"Because my birthday sucks."
She's like, "Because my birthday sucks." Duh. So
and then she's like, I just need to turn my camera off for a second. She's like, "I can't stay here any longer." So she goes to see her Lord and Master, Mr. Bishop, and to be like, "Can I pretty please see my boyfriend today?" And he's like, "No." And she's like, pretty please. And he's like, "No." And she's like, pretty please. And he's like, "Well, only if you do a thing for me."
Yep.
And she's like, "I don't want to do a thing for you." And he's like, "Well, no." And so then she does.
Yeah.
And it was delivering a death warrant to Joe Hess, who is our friendly neighborhood detective friend.
Yes.
So she goes and is like, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Hess." And he's like, "It's okay, Claire. How you doing?" And she's like, "I'm sad." And he's like, "Okay." And then she goes to Richard and she's like, "Richard, we need to save this Shane." And he's like, "No." And she's like, "But it's my birthday." He's like, "Well, happy birthday, but no." And she's like, "Oh, now I said that."
Yeah. Claire keeps going around to people and going, "It's my birthday. Can I have what I want?" And they're like, "This isn't working, like, you dumb bitch."
But eventually
it's a bit savage, but you know.
Yeah. And then she goes back to Bishop and she's like, "I did a thing." And he's like, "Okay, you shall see her, Shane. Michael, take her." And Michael's like, "Yes, sir." And so then he does. I think Michael takes her.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Mernon. I don't know. But she's like, "Shane, I missed you." And he's like, "I missed you too, babe."
Oh no,
And
Vernon
then
takes her because Vernon is like taunting her the entire time this is happening.
That's right. And he's like, "I have a cellmate. It's my Faja." And Faja is like, "Oh, smoochy smoochy." And he's like, "Shut up, Dad." And then they do a smoochy smoochy.
Everybody's just making fun of them. Everybody's just like, "Aw, gross."
But
and
then,
honestly, I'm also like, "Aw, gross."
Well, especially at the end, because then they're doing the like pep talk to each other, and he's like, "Claire, just say it with me. We're gonna live." And Mernon's like, "Come on, Claire.
We're gonna live, Claire."
Yeah, Mernon's dragging her out, and Shane's like, "Claire, say it. We're gonna live."
It was honestly.
I wonder if it's less dramatic reading it, because like the narrator gets into the emotions. So it was like no type emotions. Like,
yeah,
"We're gonna live. Say it with me."
Yeah. Whereas like you could read it as like, like, because Shane is not like the kind of, he's not dramatic like that. So it was very weird. But like, so imagine if you're reading it, you could read him as Shane being, you could read it as Shane being like,
Claire.
"Say it with me." we're gonna live, and Claire being like, yeah, we're gonna live. Which is probably how my brain would have done it, but the narration was just like, we're gonna live, Claire, stay with me. Okay, also, I'm sorry, I can't help it. I keep getting TikToks that are like Paul Wesley interviews, which is like the best. Because, and then in the comments of one of them, and this actually is very true, it's like, Damon is hotter than Ian, and Paul is hotter than Stefan. True. Because in real life, Ian is such a nice person.
Yeah.
And in real life, Paul is such a shit. Like,
he's also Polish.
Yes, but like, it's great.
Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious because like there was I saw this interview. It was like, what do you like best about Stefan? And he was like, is that a trick question? Fucking nothing. He's like, that's like asking what you like best about a hurricane. He's like, no.
So I've been watching The Good Wife, and the head of the law firm, like she's like in her 60s or something, right? Like she's a well-refined woman with like a elegant voice, all that stuff, and she's being considered to be a Supreme Court judge of Illinois. And she's like, Kalinda, who is the private investigator of the firm, I need you to do a vet on me. And Kalinda comes back, and she's just like, and Kalinda is like very stone-faced. She's usually quite emotionless in the show. And she's like, now I need you to tell me when to stop, when you've heard enough. Damon brushed Elena's hair back and blah, blah, blah. And she just starts reading at the beginning of like a Damon Elena sex scene. And Diane is like, what is that? And she's like, well, it's fan fiction from Vampire Diaries. And Diane's like, and what is a Vampire Diaries? And she's like, it was sent from your IP address. And she's like, I don't know what that is. It turns out the housekeeper posted it, but there's this, but they're reading out like Damon Elena.
Because the housekeeper posted it from her IP address.
Yes.
That's funny.
And then she had to fire the housekeeper. So she could distance herself.
From the Damon Elena fan fiction.
Yes.
That's amazing.
I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
That's funny.
What also is funny as well is because have you seen I can't remember if it's The Grinch or How the Grinch Stole Christmas, because there's a movie called one and another movie called the other one. It's the live action Grinch movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's her name? Wendy? No, Wendy's the little one, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. The chick that the Grinch is in love with, Martha.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's her. She's the lawyer in that's being considered for the judgeship. It's her. They did not have to do special Who makeup on her. I can guarantee it. She looks like a Who in real life.
Okay, wait. Hold on. What show is this?
The Good Wife. You can also look up The Good Fight. She's in both. Just type in Diane Lockhart, The Good Wife.
Yeah, she looks the same. That's funny. Okay,
yeah,
anyway,
Morgan. Yes.
We need to stop.
We do need to stop. Okay, back to...
You know what, though? On Wednesday, my doctor's like, do you have any supporting evidence? I'll be like, so book club with Bay.
Just give him all the links.
It's like, here.
All of them.
You should see how long it takes us to talk about a book when we get more interested in other shit.
fuck. Yeah, so we're gonna live. And then Claire's like, Vernon's like, very dramatic. Your young man isn't here. So maybe that's why she did the dramatic reading, because Vernon's like very dramatic. And then, because Claire is living with Mummy and Daddy now. I can't remember. Oh, then Vernon's like, okay, fine. And then he's like, by the way. And then Wild Amelie appears and she's like, well, why'd you bring the girl, Vernon? And he's like, because she's been going around trying to free Shane everywhere and she's going to get everyone killed. And Oliver's there.
Yeah, and yeah, so because he's like, you know, she's going to stick her nose in everything. You might as well tell her what's up.
Yeah, and they're like, but we can't because of a bishop. And he's like, but what would Jesus do? And then Claire's like, so you're doing shit? And they're like, yes, we're doing shit. And we will rescue important people. And she's like, what about Shane? And they're like, well, he's not important or strategically important. And Claire's like, well, I'm going to make him that. I'm not going to help you unless you do it free. And they're like, oh, well, I guess we're going to do it free.
Yeah.
They don't end up having to do it free.
The scene was badass.
On Claire's part?
On Amelie's part.
Oh, Amelie's, yeah.
Because Claire just keeps pushing and pushing and pushing, and Amelie's like, bitch. And it's like, ooh,
oh, yeah,
shit.
that's right. Because Amelie's like, fair. What else? And Claire's like, well, what? Okay, freedom for everyone? And Amelie's like, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
How absolutely dare you suggest freedom for everyone? And then they part ways.
Yeah.
And Claire goes back home.
Mm-hmm.
I think. And nothing happens. I guess. Oh no, Michael rocks up in her bedroom. Because Emily had already said that Michael's like teamed them, like she got Michael back because she did it in Michael's neck, and Michael's like, "Oh, thank you, Emily." So then Michael rocks up. He's like, "Claire," and she's like, "Michael, you can't be here." And he's like, "No, Claire." Like, I think she also bumps into Eve earlier as well.
Well, yeah, because Vernon takes her to the glass house.
That's right, and Eve's like, "Get out of here, you traitorous freak thing." And Claire's like, "Oh, now I'm sad." Do they actually end up talking, or?
Yes, they do. And so Claire, who has been told to keep everything secret, doesn't keep a fucking lid on it. And is immediately like, so Eve hears what's up, and Vernon's just like, fine, like, fine, you and your fucking poor whore. I'll keep your secret. We will keep your secret. And he's like,
yes.
Because Claire's like, secrets are no fun unless they are for everyone. And Vernon's like, no. No.
Yeah, so then Michael's in Claire's bedroom in the middle of the night, and she was like, "How'd you get in here?" He's like, No, I'm not evil. And she's like, no, I know, but what are you doing in my bedroom in the middle of the night, Michael? Like, this ain't appropriate shit. And he's like, oh, yeah.
Regardless of evilness, the fuck.
And he's like, well, your mum let me in because I'm a really good talker. And she's like, let's just put a pin in that. Yeah, so same team again. Huzzah. All the way, by the way, go see Eve and maybe do a bang bang. And like sexy, not gun. And he's like, and he leaves.
Yeah. She's like, go fix things with you, not me. Like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah. And then next day she goes to school because it's Claire, and like,
no matter what's happening, like she can't drop out of school.
Yeah, so then she's getting ready to do a testy test. And Monica comes in and she's like, I'm here on behalf of Mr. Bishop and I want to clap. And teacher's like, go. And she's like, but test. And he's like, get the fuck out of my class, Claire.
Yeah, everybody but Claire is like, it's like, this is as like the world is ending and you can do school later. And Claire's like, what?
How absolutely dare you?
It's like,
Turns
how
out
could you
Bishop.
suggest that?
Yeah, turns out Monica wasn't there on behalf of Bishop. She was like, "Where the hell's my brother?" And she's like, "I don't know where your brother is." And she's like, "Well, you're the last person to see him." And she's like, I don't freaking know. I asked him to do a Shane to help free, and he didn't. Oh, because Richard is also now mayor, because Daddy died last book,
Right.
and effectively making Richard mayor was easier because they just didn't have to change any of the signs. That's effectively it. You know it's true.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, he's gone and no one's missing. And she's like, and Claire's just like, I don't know, but can I get back to Tess now, please? Oh wait, no. I like your brother. Oh, by the way, how's Mummy? And Monica's like, oh, I guess we're done with the threatening portion of the thing. Yeah, Mom's good. How's your parents? And Claire's like, this is weird, but yeah, they're fine. They're fine. Monica's like, okay. And Claire's like, can I test now? And she's like, you want to test now? And she's like, yes, please, I want to test now. And Monica's like, you're a freak. And then Monica leaves and Claire goes and tests. And then Claire goes to see Eve at work. And she's like, so did Michael come by? And Eve's like, yes, he did. And Claire's like, well, tell me. And Eve's like, but you are a minor. And she's like, I'm 17 now. And Eve is like, oh, yeah, you are. I forgot about your birthday. Soz, I've been too busy hating you. And Claire's like, you owe me a cake. And Eve's like, you're a fucking freak. Why do you want me to make you a cake? I can't bake for shit.
And Claire's like,
cool,
that's the
point. And so they're friends again. And Eve and Michael had sexy time. And does anything else interesting? Is that the conversation that's the one that has the Dean rock up? Does Dean rock up in that one?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, and some guy rocks up and he's like, "Hey, can I sit here?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure. I guess you can." And he's like, "I'm super nerdy with my nerdy books, I guess, but not really super nerdy because I struggle. I'm just studious, I suppose. Oh, by the way, I also know Shane." Just casually throwing that in. They're like, how do you know Shane? He's like, oh, well, my brother was like one of Frank's minions and he's dead now. So now I'm just like studying, I suppose. And they're like, oh, okay. Well, okay.
What's really funny is like outside of our group of people, nothing's that different. Like in Morganville, like as far as the town goes, everything's basically the same.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of like half the vampires that have gone over to Bishop, like they're no longer protecting their peeps, so like they're just getting more people are getting lunched on, shall we say?
Yeah. Otherwise, though, a lot of the citizens are just like, I don't see shit.
We'll carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hope for the best.
Yeah.
But then
a lot of the other citizens are like, well, I'm not a main character, so I can't do anything about this.
Yeah. And then Claire goes and visits a Theo.
Yeah.
Does she do that? Or does she go and... No, she goes and sees the doctor dude first, doesn't she?
I can't remember which happens which.
I think she goes to the doctor's first. Mernon takes her to see the doctor from the hospital that's been helping her work on the crystals and serum and shit.
Yeah, because Claire needs to save the vampires. Also, because like if all the vampires go crazy, they're gonna have bigger issues. Like, because the vampires going crazy they're just gonna kill everybody if that happens. You know.
Mm-hmm. And not just that as well, but like then there's also no one to fight back against Bishop.
And can Bishop create vampires?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, so Bishop could just like make a whole new line of vampires.
Yeah. Or when he gets bored of being Lord of Morganville, he could just kill everyone. So they kind of need the vampires, like the Morganville vampires. They need them. Yeah. So then, Yeah, she's like, oh, hello, doctor. And he's like, Bishop's been hunting me and my children, so we live at the school now. It's a thing.
Yes.
And Claire's like, oh, well, that's nice. That's nice. He's like, oh, we need more of Bishop's blood, but here's some cure doses. And she's like, awesome, cool. Okay, let's try and work out how to get Bishop's blood. And it's like, oh, silly Claire, you're not part of these plans. And she's like, oh, okay then. And then they go and see Theo.
Mm-hmm.
But then Sandra, I think, is like, oh, Theo, there you are. Let's do a thing.
Oh, also, right now, Mernon is not taking the crystals because Bishop can't know that has access to such things.
Yeah, and he's also refusing the cure as well. Actually, no, the Theo, Mernon isn't with her when she goes to see Theo. That's right. She's going to go do a thing, and then it's like, oh, I think Ada pops up. And she's like, hey, come with me. And she's like, okay, then random as. Because we get some allusions to Ada earlier in the book, and then we start to see a 2D Victorian woman walking around, and it's Ada Lovelace as a vampire, Mernon's former assistant, who is now a supercomputer. It's a thing. And she's like, come with me. And Claire's like, okay, this is weird, but sure. She goes through a portal, and there's Theo, and she's like, oh, hi, Theo. And he's like, oh, by the way, my kids are off to go and get Shane, and we're all going to skip town. And his wife is like, yeah, your bishop mark's fading. I can block it. We'll be sweet till it's like, and Claire's like, okay. And then Cassandra rocks up and she's like, well. The children tried and failed to save Shane, and now we're mad. So let's all go to see Daddy Bishop. So then they go to Daddy Bishop, and he brings in Shane and Frank. And he's like, I am displeased by this. So at Snapjack lesson, lunchtime, and he eats Frank.
Yeah.
But then he stops eating Frank and turns him into a vampy vamp. And Shane's catatonic. Because his dad just got turned into a vampy vamp.
Honestly, though, that's so funny to me. Like, it's such a power move. It's kind of like when what's his nuts? When Uncle John comes to town and Stefan's like, I want you to leave town. So he like feeds Uncle John his blood and is like, you can either leave or I will turn you into a fucking vampire.
Yeah. But Bishop's just like, no, I'm doing the whole thing. We're doing the whole kid and caboodle. Frank is now a vampy vamp and you guys can all go. Or I'll do more. I'll do more stuff.
Yeah.
And Frank's looking kind of hungry, so fuck off a lot of you. So Shane is now free.
Mm-hmm.
Michael was there as well. The whole thing was a ploy to see if Michael was still Team Bishop. And they're like, Michael, how could you just let that happen? It's like, well, I can't take out Bishop. If I'd done something, we all would have died.
Yeah.
Like Frank was getting vamped no matter what happened. But he could be a vamp with us alive or a vamp with us dead.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked vamp with us alive. And they're like, okay, well, I guess that makes sense. And they go home. Michael goes upstairs to Eve, and they have... Oh, Eve is like, Shane, you're out. And then Michael's like, shit went down. Let's... So then they toddle off, probably to go fuck again. Am I wrong? They went upstairs to Eve's bedroom. And they've been apart for 3 months. So, like, you know. And then Claire's like, I missed you. And he's like, I missed you too. And she's like, I'm ready, Shane. And he's like, yeah, but I don't want to be here. And she's like, oh, no. And then she cries. And he's like, why are you crying? And she's like, it's fine if you don't love me anymore. It's like, no. And he's like, no, Claire, I meant I wanted to be on the couch. It was a joke. And she's like, well, it wasn't very funny. And he's like, why do you think I don't love you? And she's like, because I'm female, damn it.
We always, like, unless you tell us, like, every hour on the hour, we're like, maybe he doesn't love me anymore.
Yeah. And she's 17. Like, it's worse.
Yeah.
At
least when you're an adult, you can be like, no, we live together. He likes me still. It's fine.
Yeah. And then So then they're like, Shane's like, I need to shower before we do anything. And she's like, that's fine. So then he showers, but he puts on his old dirty underwear still because he makes a comment about the underwear. He's like, don't mind the underwear, they're prison issue. I'm like, why would you not go into your room and get a fresh pair?
I don't know.
Male.
Teenage boy, I guess.
Yeah. And he's like, are you sure you want to do this? And she's like, well, Eve told me it freaking hurts, but yes, no. I'm like, oh, God, it's got to hurt before I can feel okay. And then it hurt before I felt okay. And then after it felt okay, it felt wonderful. And Shane helped her through the painful bits. And then it was glorious. At least it acknowledged that it hurt. It wasn't just like, it was perfect. I mean, like,
although I have never met any. I mean, maybe this is just me, but I have never met anybody who has been like, where it hurt, but like it stopped hurting.
No, it doesn't stop hurting because you tore. Like, it hurts because like shit gets torn. Because
so it doesn't stop hurting. Also, like, here's the thing that they don't talk about. Okay, nobody talks about. It hurts the second time too.
But you can't, like, once if a JJ starts hurting during sex, you can't unhurt it.
Yeah, no matter what. Like, the second something hurts.
Oh, well, okay, the difference is as well, like, right, just say you have either you have a short canal or he has a long dick. Or sometimes the angle is just wrong and the cervix gets whacked. That's recoverable. You can recover from the dick smashing the cervix.
Yeah.
By the way, also, reproductive advice from Book Club with Bay. When you are pregnant, your cervix shifts and it's lower. So that happens more often. Like, with every thrust. So sex becomes quite big.
Oh, good.
So
yeah, well,
if you have a sensitive cervix, date a guy with a smaller penis.
Well,
pregnancy is possible.
But my point is, like, at least in my experience, if something is wrong and something starts to hurt, doing more fuck doesn't make it unhurt.
No. Like, if okay, so we all know that, you know, it's okay, it's not that big until like you stretch it out, but like, you know, you got the hole, right? But unfortunately, sometimes, right, around here, a little tear may occur if he goes in at slightly wrong angle or something, you know. If that occurs, it's just going to hurt more and more and more and more and more as the sex
you need to stop.
Yeah, you can't fix that. Okay, but like, at least though with the cervix, right, like, you know, because it's going in and it goes boop, you know, like it does a whack, you know. But then, like, if he stops whacking it, it stops hurting eventually. So like, yeah, that's recoverable. But a torn, like, you don't have to bleed either for the tear to occur.
Yeah,
it's just a little tiny, like, and as soon as like and it's probably so small that no one could see it with a magnifying glass, but you can feel it.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, as far as I know, like, with most people I know, at least the first time, nobody finishes anything. It's just like in there for a minute, and then you're like, it hurts too bad. Get the fuck out of me.
Well, also because like your first time as well, like you're really nervous, so like there's no natural lubrication happening.
Yeah,
and not a lot of teenage boys will use lubricant, right? So it's a condom in a dry vagina.
Which is way worse.
Yes, because also, like, I mean, a girl doesn't have to be, like, self-lubricating if there's no condom, because, like, little bits of stuff come out from, like, there's pre-cum that pops out, and it's like, hello, and it's there, and it helps, you know. But when there's condom, there's not that either.
So it just hurts like a bitch.
Yes, it's
like a real depiction of somebody losing their virginity would be like, he slid it in, it hurt like a bitch, and then I went, get the fuck out of me. Like, that's That's how it goes.
My first time, I literally said to him, I was just like, oh, like, are you done? Like, I just straight up was like, are you done?
Yeah, my first time, like it was about 5 seconds. I was like, if you move, I'll fucking kill you. And then it was like, okay, please exit me. I'm done. I'm tapping out. I cannot.
I have had that. It wasn't my first time. It wasn't anywhere near my first time. It was this guy, and honestly, he was just whoops. So his nickname was Stretch because he was really, really tall and lanky. I don't know if that's what his nickname was from though, because it was like a freaking forearm. It was really, really big. There is such a thing as too big.
No, that's the point where you just go, we're not, nope, I'm not even trying. No, sir.
After about 10 seconds, I'm just like, I can't. I'm like, I refuse. This is done. This isn't happening.
Yeah, no, please get out of me.
He was like, why? I'm like, look. I mean, it's probably like the best way to get rejected from sex because it was just like, sorry, but you're just too big. That's what he came down to. He was because like it wasn't just length or girth; it was both.
Oof, that's rough. Yeah, because I've had both issues. And no.
It was like a forearm.
Yeah, your first time is mostly just like the reason why it lasts 5 seconds is usually just because you can't stand it longer than that.
Yeah. It gets easier, I guess. I will say that the first time Stixie and I had sex after our daughter was born, because I had a C-section, but my vagina didn't care about that, so it still shrank because our bodies have a way of trying to recover. And yeah, like after you push your baby out because you stretch, it shrinks itself back down. But if it doesn't get stretched out, it still shrinks itself back down. So it hurt way worse than my first time. I was sobbing, and he was like, "Do I stop? Do I keep going?" I'm like, "I don't know. I feel like we should just try and get it over with as quickly as possible, so then that way, like, some progress has been made."
Yeah.
Like, we need progress. Like, it just needs. We gotta stretch this bitch back out. But it took, and then I had another C-section. It took years. It took years. Sometimes now it's still like there's still problems, or I'm just like I feel like it's just too small. Like me, not him.
Yeah.
Like I've said to him many times as well. I'm like, why can't you just have a smaller penis? That would be so much easier.
So here's the thing: if you're worried about like size, maybe don't be like. Just throwing that out there.
All you want is adequate is enough. Is your penis, for the men out there, is your penis adequate? You good. You good.
Yeah, it's fine. Like,
and if it's not quite yet adequate, then convince your missus to have a C-section, and then it'll be enough. It's fine. Sex advice from Book Club with Bay. Is this even sex advice?
I don't know. I think it's just sex information.
Yeah, sex information from Book Club with Bay.
And because, like, I've also seen a whole bunch of people being like, I've also seen a whole bunch of things where it's like, well, it shouldn't hurt the first time. There's no way it should hurt the first time. And I'm just like, how the fuck would it not?
Well, like, look, there's a chance that, there's every chance that the circumstance could be just right that it wouldn't hurt the first time. But a big part of that is you would have to be to the point where you are not at all nervous.
Yeah.
So, like, you probably have to be drunk. Or on Eckies.
I don't recommend getting drunk as a teenager. I just just throwing that out there. Don't do that. But yeah,
unless you're in a country where the legal drinking age leaves you available to drink while being a teenager.
That's true. Yeah,
but in the US, no.
Yeah, I can't recommend that because most people have sex before they're like 20. So
yes. Yeah. So but that's the only way I could imagine that it wouldn't hurt.
I think being older, closer to like the closer to 18 you are, probably also the better off you are, because that's around 18, by the way. Puberty advice from Book Club with Bae. If you're a girl, around 18 is about when your hips start to widen. Like, so you might notice that your hips get wider around like 18 to 22, 23.
My hips widened at like 12.
Yeah, so mine like initially widened when I was like 12, but then they did like another thing.
Oh yeah,
I was in my early 20s.
Oh, like when the actual pelvis itself decided to be like, oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
So you might want to also keep that in mind, because that could help too, like a lot, is if your actual pelvis has done its thing, because then it's a much better
situation,
receptacle shape. I don't know. Yeah, like
better foundation for the sex act.
Yeah, so it's probably like, because what your pelvis will do is it'll widen, and because also it's something you'll be able to feel is like there will be bones, like pelvic bones, that'll get in the way, and that can hurt too. Yeah.
I have a cry boy. I'll be back in a sec.
Okay. Anyway, I forget where we even were.
We are at they just did bang, and the next morning, and Eve is like, yeah, you look different. Did you do a bang? That's where we're at.
Yeah, and I think this is where she just starts telling people that yes, she did a bang. And so I think we get like the girl combo about yes, I did a bang. And yeah, so yeah, because there's also like this, the trope of you had sex, so now you're a new person. Go you! Oh my god. So there is that. Yeah, so like both Eve and Michael know that she had sex with Shane. And then so they don't I don't think they have a talk about it, but like, I don't know, it's not like a huge deal. And then suddenly, Hannah arrives and she starts talking about how there's a plan to get the people most in danger. Oh, I think we already talked about this out of Morganville. I'm just looking at my notes. And then Mernon like yes, this is what happened.
Yeah, I just want to go back for a second with she straight up tells Eve, right, which fair, best friend. But then Michael walks in and he's like, something's off about you today. And Claire just goes like bright red and stuff. He's like, I was not talking about that, Claire. Like, good to know, I guess, that you and Shane did a thing, but like, not what I was talking about. Get your head out of the gutter. I just like that she's just like, oh. He's like, no, I meant like, you look less stressed. Or I can't remember what it was. I can't remember what it was that he was saying. It was something like really innocent, and she's just like, oh, sex. And he's like, no, I don't really want to think about you banging Shane.
Also, probably people can't tell the second you have sex, by the way. That's not like a thing. There's not like a magical thing that happens to you. So this is where they get like the plan to get out of Morganville. And so Claire is supposed to like leave with them and have Goldman keep Bishop from finding them through like the fading tattoo on her arm. So it's all that stuff that we talked about earlier.
And Claire's like, no.
So then Claire takes Michael and Hannah into the school and tells them to wait in the basement while she gets Dr. Mills.
First she goes to her parents, doesn't she? I feel like she goes to her parents first. Or maybe she goes to them after.
Yeah, she goes to them after.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So
Dr. Mills isn't there, though.
yeah, so then when she gets to the rooms the doctors was using, they're like completely emptied out, and then the computer is like, hey, I need you to find my bracelet, to find Emily and save Mernon. And then she starts to fade because she's like, I need blood. And then Claire's like, blood. And then we save the computer. So yeah.
Yeah.
And
then she gets taken to the cells.
yeah.
Does that happen next time? Yeah.
Yeah.
So where all the crazy vampy vamps were, she goes there. I can't remember how, but she gets there. And Doctor is there, and she's like, oh, Doctor, you're here. And he's like, yes, and I'm starting to feel like lunch, but I cured everyone that's here, so huzzah. And Claire's like, huzzah. And then we meet, I don't know if she's Emily's like sister IRL. I think it's just vampire sister, not sister. But she's like, hello, I am Naomi, and thank you so much for coming to visit. And I don't know why I started to sound like Augustus Glump there. Didn't mean to. And she's like, okay, well, Claire, I do believe that you and the doctor should go, but please give Emily my favor and cheerio. And she's like, well, sorry, oh, like, you know, bonjour, and because she's French. And then they leave. And then Claire gets grabbed, and it's Frank, and she's like, Frank. And he's like, hello, I am hungry, but my son loves you, so I shall not eat you. And she's like, well, thank you, please don't eat me, and come on, Doctor. And he's like, no, Doctor is lunch. And she's like, no, Frank, bad Frank. And he's like, no, you're right, bad Frank, I kill myself now. And she's like, okay, peace out. And then they leave. It's what happens.
Is what happens.
And then she's like, have Doctor. And they're like, thank you. Let's go get your parents now. And Claire's like, done. So then they go to parents. And she's like, Mom, Dad, you know, time to do a leave. And they're like, excellent, Claire, go pack your bags. And she's like, no, I do a stay. And Dad's like, is this because of that boy? And she's like, oh, no, it's not because of the boy. And Dad's like, you had sex with him. And she's like, yes, I did, Daddy. And he's like, I want charges pressed. And Hannah's like, she's 17. And he's only a year older than her. And I'm like, well, if she was 15, it would have been legal because of his age. It still would have been legal if she was 15.
I love that he's like, I want charges pressed. Dad's always want charges pressed, though.
And Hannah's just like, this is a family dispute. This is not a legal matter. Stop being ridiculous. And so then, yeah, Claire convinces them to do a leave. And
but also, like, if I were Claire, I would have been like, no.
Yeah, but Claire's just like, of course I fucked him. He was being locked away for 3 months.
Which, I mean, good. Honestly, good on her for having the balls, I guess. But like,
I mean, I don't think she ever actually out and out said it, but that's like, did you? And she's like, ah. And he's like, you did. Did he take advantage of you? And she's like, it wasn't like that. And her mother is like, oh, Claire. And she's like, oh, Mom.
I'm like, no, like, it wasn't like that. Claire's been crawling all over him for like months. Don't worry about it. She's fine.
Yeah. And Hannah's just like, wow, I so wish I wasn't here for this conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then when they get back out to the car, Hannah's like, so, and Claire's like, shut up, Hannah. And she's like, just saying, like, If I was 17, I'd bang Shane too. And Claire's like, Hannah. And she's like, sorry. Okay, it didn't happen, but you could tell. That was the tone of Hannah's pointed look. And then I guess they go to try and find everyone else. They find who they can, do a thing. They go to the industrial area, and they're like, oh, look, here's everyone. And Monica's like, I don't want to be on a bus with other people. And they're like, well, too bad. And so then, yeah, buses start to go, and Claire's like, Bishop's calling me. I must pace. So they're like, well, pace away. So then she's pacing, and then they're like, well, maybe we could do a poison thing to get Bishop's blood because we need more of his blood. Yeah. They're like, well, that would kill whoever he does the thing. And then they're like, oh, well, we shall think about it. And then Claire gets sedated, but she's like conscious the whole time, but she's sedated because she's starting to feel the pull of like Bishop being like, Claire, come to me. And, oh, by the way, looks like the sun being a thing isn't a lighting issue, so huzzah.
Yeah, huzzah, indeed. I was wondering how that was going to go.
And where does she go again?
I don't know.
Or is that when she goes to... Or is that when she ends up seeing the doctor?
I think that's when the doctor thing happens. Yeah, okay, well, it is.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
And, yeah. So then, yeah, she's like, I'm back, and they're like, okay, and then they're like, let's go home, and she's like, okay. But the pull of Bishop is, like, really faint now, and she can't really feel it anymore, so she's like, okay. So then they go back home, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, well, now we're home. And then it's like, well, everyone must go to the town meeting. And she's like, but why? I don't want to go to town meeting. And they're like, well, everyone must go to the town meeting. So then they all go to the town meeting. And Eve and Shane get put in a pen in the middle of the place. And they're like, everyone's being penned by their protectors. And Claire, you're up on stage with meh. And she's like, okay. So her and Michael go up on stage. And they're like, I guess we're on stage now. And Bishop's like, haha, tonight we do an eat of the non-protecteds, and they're like, well, this ain't good. And then Mernon comes up and he's blind and he's drunk and he's like, hello, Bishop. And he's like, I know your tricks, Mernon. And then he's like, Claire was my pawn the whole time and I witnessed everything, but now she's free and Claire is free. And he's like, and I am not going to be poisoned by you, Mernon. Mwahaha. Instead, I have my other people, and Emily comes out. Oliver's holding her by a silver collar leash thing. Sam's there. A few other people are there, and he's like, screw you, screw everyone. I'm going to burn Morganville to the ground, but first I'm going to eat a Sam. And then he eats a Sam.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad.
Yeah, it is.
And, like, people are fighting to, like, Claire's trying to get to Sam, and Michael's like, no. We have to do this, Claire. And she's like, no, Michael is killing Sam. And then, like, Bishop's like, mwahaha, I have one daughter. And then he stumbles. And then Oliver's like, okay, game over. And then, like, frees Emily. Emily goes over to Sam. She's like, I always loved you. He's like, I always loved you too. And she's like, I'll never forget you. He's like, I'll never forget you either. And then he dies. And Emily's like, no. And then she, like, fight happens. Bishop yeets out of there by a portal. And Emily's like, well, this ain't good. So her, Mernon, and Claire go to Ada, the computer, and they're like, Ada, where'd she go? And, oh, Ada, how does Bishop have portal access? And she's like, well, he was nice to me. So, yeah. And they're like, well, lock him out. And she's like, okay. And then she's like, but I am hungry, Mernon. And he's like, okay, well, have a blood. And bleeds into her. And then she's like, have some of Claire blood. And she bleeds into her. And Ada's like, I don't like this Claire blood. And he's like, well, too bad. She's boss man. Who has portal access? And she's like, well, you, Jason and Dean. And they're like, who the fuck is Dean? But no more Jason and Dean. No. And she's like, oh, well, fine then. They're like, where'd Bishop go? And she's like, to the university. And they're like, okay. So then, university time, everyone. They have the book as well now.
Yeah.
And Bishop's like,
yeah, they have the book.
Yeah, so then they find Bishop and they're like, aha, Bishop. And he's like, aha, my book. So now it's Claire, Eve, and Shane. I don't know where the others are.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think they all split up to try and find him. And they get to the left and they're like, ha ha ha, I've got the book. And he's like, no, my book. And he's running and they're like, oh crap, the poison's starting to wear off. So then they go to the library. Eve and Shane both get leather-bound books too. And they're like,
oh yeah, also, so like the reason why, so Sam had the poison in him. There was like a whole thing with poison and like, how are we going to poison Bishop? And so Sam was a sacrificial poison lamb.
Because they had to poison Bishop enough to keep him immobile long enough to get his blood because he's way stronger than, like, their strongest vampires combined.
So eating Sam is how they poisoned him.
Yep. So then Bishop thinks Shane has the book, so he's going after Shane, and Eve's like, no, I have the book. He's like, shut up, Eve. And Claire's like, crap. And then she finds Bishop built a statue of himself in the library at the university that has an open flame.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I don't know. But he did. Also, I thought it would take longer than 3 months to commission a bronze statue.
I'm pretty sure it does.
But this is Morganville we're talking about, so it's there. And Claire's like, burn, book, burn. And Book's like, no, I am not burning. And she's like, well, fine. Tears pages out. And she's like, burn, pages, burn. And they're like, okay, I will burn. And Bishop's like, no, my book. And so it's like running over, and Merlin appears. He's like, mwahaha. He grabs it and he's like, oh, look, I just burned about my affair with Queen Elizabeth I. Oh, here's this, here's that. Oh, here's a page you might like, Bishop. And Bishop catches the page, and Merlin says some Latin, and Bishop bursts into flames. And Claire's like, don't we need a blood thing? And he's like, oh, correct. Stop flames. And they stop, and Merlin has a big drink. And he's like, I have all the blood I need. You're going to die, Bishop. And then Bishop gets taken away. And now they have enough of Bishop's blood to make the cure. Claire is going to be living at home until she's 18, like with her parents until she's 18. But she still spends most of her time at the glass house. Everyone's happy. And it's a few weeks later. Things are going back to normal in Morganville. And then she bumps into the guy that they met at the coffee bar earlier in the book. And she's like, hey, I'm going to be leaving now, but, you should come by tonight for dinner so you can catch up with Shane. And he's like, well, that would be lovely. And so now they're walking outside, and she's like, wow, you must like studying a lot, carrying all those books. And he's like, no, I just do it so dumb girls like you think I'm safe to be around. And then he knocks her unconscious. It was a good twist.
It was. But also like interesting.
Did you remember the name? Did you attach the names each time they were mentioned in the separate things? No.
Because that's Dean, right?
That's Dean, who had portal information.
Yeah, that I did get.
Yeah, I don't think I think the first time I read it, I was like, that name is so familiar, but I couldn't quite place it.
I got it. I think so. I didn't remember his name, but what I remembered was what I figured was this guy's creepy, and then they didn't circle back around to it till the end, and then I was like, I bet that's the other person that had portal access.
Yeah.
So,
and then because also earlier in the book as well, Jason, Eve's brother, made an appearance. They're like, you killed those girls, and he's like, yeah, I did. And Sam and Michael were like, oh my god, you didn't do it. You didn't kill them. You're lying. And Jason's like, well, I was there when it happened. So, close enough. So, yeah, we know at this point that Jason didn't kill the girls in the previous books, including the one that was found in their basement. But Dean is the one that didn't. He's like, mwahaha. And Claire's just like, so you rocked up here on Frank's orders and then you decide to just kill people? It's like, yeah, it's a fucked up town. Who's going to stop me? And then he's like, I want to really kind of start a vampy war, so I'm going to drain your blood like a vamp would, and then I'm going to dump you at common grounds. And everyone's going to think Oliver killed you. And she's like, well, that ain't good. And then Ada rocks up. And, because Ada is a 2D image thing. And she's like, and Claire's like, help me. Because she's blood draining. She's like, help. And Ada's like, bloop. And she bloops away. And then a portal opens. And it's the glass house. And And Shane's like, where's Claire? And then he calls her phone and hears her phone and he looks, he's like, oh, look, there's Claire's tied up with her blood being drained. And so he goes to do a run and Dan's like, and closes the portal and he's like, that was close. That, and then Wild Vamp appears and Dean gets, I think he gets, and then Claire gets carried away. She wakes up in hospital. Oliver rescued her.
Yeah.
Which cute.
Yeah. Oliver's a bad good egg.
I like he has his moments.
He does have his moments.
And so then Claire's in hospital and everyone's like, don't almost die on us again, Claire. And she's like, I didn't mean to. And then they're like, well, Dean was a bad boy. And they're like, well, yeah, Dean was a bad boy. And I think that's the end of the book. Does anyone report it? Yeah. Oh, wait, then it's Sam's funeral.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And they're like, oh, it's Sam's funeral. And Emily's like, how dramatic is Emily, right? Because, like, she rocks up there and her hair's all up like this and she gets up to do a talk. She's got hairpins in. And she just, like, dramatically starts pulling them out, while she's talking. And she's like, I in Sam's memory, all of the humans will have protection from the vampires and we shall be equal citizens. And then, that's the book.
Yeah.
She's like, we'll make it work. So, next book, we're coming into a new Morganville.
Yep. Ending season 1. So, that's
ending
fun.
Season.
Yeah.
So, huzzah.
Yay. Huzzah.
I think there are 3 seasons within the series. Yes, there are. We've got 2 more seasons to go with some standalone episodes.
Yeah. So, that's these books. And, so we're going to do next Soul Screamers, but is it a novella next?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we've got Never to Sleep next.
All right, we'll see when we can fit that in. We should probably be able to fit it in this week.
Probably. It won't take too long.
So we'll do that this week and then, probably return to Morganville. But so that's the schedule. I've updated the website, so all the stuff for book club is actually up to date now.
How long had it been since you updated it?
Oh, well, don't worry about it. It's up to date now, so that's not the point. But yeah, so that's fun. Okay, so with that, Soul Screamers is next, and welcome to the new setup. And I'm glad it didn't go horribly wrong once the sun came up because I was worried about that. But anyway, so we shall see you guys next time.